we'll start at that again at that AT Forward project on that page is how you're going to be starting. So once you've already done the COP thing, so you've finished that one, and hopefully you've gone into the A10 modules, and then we're going to go into the micro credentialing part. So if you want to go on the next slide. So when this is kind of what it's going to look like. So as you look at each of the different areas, like we said, there's 16 different areas, you can then choose. So in this case, this one must be one of the AAC ones. AAC. Okay. Mm-hmm. So once you choose one of these, you'll notice that there are some other links that are in here. So you made a copy of this, and now there are links in here. So this one will take you to, the first one will take you to AAC assessment, adults with developmental disabilities, but you don't need to do that one. If you look across the top, it says you need to complete 3 of these modules. And now there's an or. Okay, everybody heard the or, right? Because everyone's like, wait a minute, I have to do 3 and plus. And I'm like, no, 3 or. So like you could attend one of our sessions like we're doing right now, one of our community of practice sessions that maybe has to do with a communication. And that will count also as 1. So you could do 1 COP and then pick 2 from the other side. Okay. So maybe communication 1, or maybe you're really skilled. You've been an AAC person for a while. Maybe you want to do 2 and 3. So it really kind of depends upon where you're at. Or again, there's an or in there. Maybe you found something that you really liked in your field that all of a sudden you're like, wow, I attended this really great webinar. All you need to do is tell us about it. So take a screenshot. And if you don't know how to do that, I can certainly help with that. And so can Stacy. Lots of options out there for taking screenshots. I love the little snipping tool. That's one of my faves. So once all we need to do is have a little evidence that you've completed one of those. Just state that. When you go through each of these modules from ATEM, there is a quiz. Yes, I know it's a quiz, but it's one of those things where it's a pre and a post. So you take the pre-test, and after you've done the module, then they'll give you a post-test. And we want to make sure that you are in fact passing that post-test, so we know that you have acquired that information. Okay, so this is kind of the first step. The first step is I'm going to choose what I want to do, and I'm going to start my learning process. And maybe I'm going to do communication 1 and 3, and then I'm going to maybe attend a webinar on augmentative communication, maybe even from a vendor. And that's absolutely fine too. Okay, so it's charting your own course using that universal design for learning. Any questions on any of that before we go on? No?
And Kathy, I just want to point out, I think you made a really good point too. You said, whether you're sort of brand new at this or sort of an expert in the field. And again, that's the intent, is matching your needs where you're at with this. We welcome all levels of expertise, from someone just starting out to someone who's fully immersed in it. Again, that's the beauty of this project and this community of practice.
And just so you know, when you get into the ATEM modules, range, and they'll tell you right up front. It'll say like, this one might be an hour and a half. This one might be 2 hours. But it really kind of depends too upon like, how long does it take you to read? How long are you clicking on every single solitary thing within this module? Because that will in fact make the difference on how long it's going to take you to complete it. So don't think that everyone's like, oh my gosh, it's 3 hours long. Not necessarily. It really kind of depends upon you as a learner. And again, you are charting your own course in this. And I always tell people, you put in what you get out. If you don't put anything in, you're not going to get anything out. So why do it, right? So you want to put in as much as you can into this, but what you need, make sure that you do that. Once you finish with a module, and you finished, like you've done AAC1, AAC2, and maybe one that was a vendor. So there's your 3. You've done 3 different things. Then what we're going to ask you to do is you're going to fill out a Google Sheet. And in the Google Sheet, it's not a lot, but we want to know how we can help further this and how we can help further what you're doing. So we're going to ask you for some action statements. So you've learned something and now you're going to do something with it, right? So I will, and here's some examples. I will share blank, blank, and blank. Like a lot of people with the things that they've learned is they take them back to their teams. So they'll say, I'll share these great websites that I've learned in this module to help my team, or I'm going to use what I learned to help during an IEP process, and it's going to help step me through those things. I will emphasize the importance of something that I've learned somewhere else. Oh, Mike's got a question. Mike, you got your question formulated real quick?
Question, if we go to a workshop, can we count that?
Absolutely you can, Mike. Yes. Yes. Just what all we ask is that you tell us about the workshop, give us a web address, a little bit about, hey, I spent maybe, an hour in this presentation. And yeah, you can count that. So then you'd be doing 2 A10 modules and then that one workshop. So now you've got your 3 things. So each one requires 3 separate parts. That answer your question, Mike? I'm going to take that as a yes, Mike. Okay, so you've got your action statements. So, basically, what are you going to do with the information that you learned? We had people that are saying things like, I'm going to start, putting these things in a folder and sharing them out with my, thanks for the thumbs up there, Mike. I'm going to share these things out with my team. I'm going to put some things together to help my paraprofessionals. Whatever it happens to be, the more specific you can get with that, the more that we're going to be able to help you to kind of move that along too. So there's step 1 is the action statements. The next one is we want you to reflect on your learning. Okay. We want you to really think about this learning. And you might say that I learned blank during this learning. It really made me think about whatever. Like, I know that a lot of people who did the ones on smart houses, that they were like, wow, it really made me think about how much more independent my students can be when they leave school. Or I think I need more information on something else, because believe it or not, we read every last one of these. There's been 140 badges that have been awarded so far. And honestly, I have read them all. And when you put something in there, I will give you some feedback on that. Or I might say that, hey, this was really good. I love your action statements. It looks like you're looking for more information on comprehensive literacy. And maybe you want to check out Karen Erickson's book on comprehensive literacy for all, or something like that. So we try to kind of direct that. I mean, that's the cool thing, you guys, about a community of practice. We're all here to help one another. When I was in my district in the beginning, I always felt like I was so alone. Like I never had any other AT person. Like I said in the beginning, I'm an educator. I'm not an OT. I'm not a PT. I'm not a vision person. I'm not a speech and language clinician. But we're thrown into those jobs and we have to do all of those pieces too with the support of our team. So, that's what we're here to do. We're here to support you as we're going along. So in that Google Doc, you're going to get some feedback, and it might just say, I love the fact that you thought so deeply about what you're doing, and your students are lucky to have you, or it might be, if you ask me a question, I'm going to go do some digging for you and I'm going to give you an answer the best that I can, or I'm going to point you in another direction. Okay, so just remember, I do read them. Here's another cool fact. If you do 7 micro-credentialing, you're going to get a certificate from the Department of Public Instruction, and you'll get what's called a macro credential. So we're trying to really move this along as much as we can. So you're not only just getting 1 or 2 things, but if you do 7, you're going to get a macro credential. And we actually had 8 different people do a macro credential last year. So which is a lot of work on someone's behalf. But again, we're trying to recognize that, and hopefully that we'll recognize it in your district and people will see this. So you can print your certificate and hang it on the wall and be proud of your aspects in assistive tech.
All right. And, in addition to printing those certificates, you can also get you'll have your digital badge if you want to put in your email signature line. That's another way to show and promote the work that you've done. So as we kind of reflect on our first year, this is all pretty exciting. We have over 140 badges earned and counting. As Kathy mentioned, we had 8 completed micro-credentials. We've had over 50 participants and over 30 districts and organizations represented, which is just amazing. And so we're really, really excited about this work going forward. And also to mention, you don't need to be an educator in the state to participate, right? This is open to anybody, parents, students, and we're going to talk about the post-secondary level. There's all kinds of uses for this, but just to make it clear that you don't need to be in a role in a school district necessarily for this. This is open to anybody. And we've even had interest from others outside of our state to come in and participate in these learning opportunities. And then if you complete a micro-credential or macro-credential, what's really great is we do some celebrations in our AT Forward update, which is that monthly update that comes out with wonderful resources, upcoming COP meetings. But we also do some celebrating in there of those that completed the work, because again, it's all about moving this forward for our students, right? Which starts with you, and we want to celebrate that. So, and your commitment to accessing, to engaging, and learning for our students.